Okay guys, so I'm already redesigning the Parterre garden. See these blocks right here? These are $25 a piece. These are designed for you to build into the ponds. I'll take a picture of what it looks like. And so you can make it any height or any length. What you do is you actually put a pond liner in it and then you fill it with water. But they do have certain sections that have pedestal, like almost pedestal-like things, like this section right here, and this will allow you to put like a statue or something. Probably if I put a little base, I can actually put like something that's shooting water out, because I would need to keep the water moving. So at the end of the day, this just made my entire selection process harder, because this is not what I was counting on. I was just thinking about doing a regular fountain, but the pond is probably going to give me, since I can kind of create it myself, it's going to give me the aesthetic that I'm looking for, and I can just do it over a couple years. So for sure, I just want to do a pond and then add, I mean, I'll have to get some sort of pumps to make sure that there's water flowing so there's no mosquitoes, but at least I could have something very unique. But meanwhile, I am going to buy a couple of I really like these bases, and some of them have holes in them, so I could actually use as put a planter on top of it. And I think I might actually do that because that'll look really cute. So anyway, I'm getting a price on things, and I'll sign up, and then I'll come back at the end. And then let's see, I went to Garden Creations in Egg Harbor, and boy, that was awesome. My garden plan's getting ready to change, people. By this point, you've probably seen the Parterre garden design, and it's okay. In the main, it will stay the same. It's just that when I was there, I was, saying, okay, I'm just gonna go buy a fountain, especially because I didn't pay as much as I thought I was gonna pay with the whole water thing, because I was counting on him having to replace a whole bunch of stuff, and it turned out he really didn't need to do that. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll get a fountain. They said they were having sales. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. I can go down there and get something pretty nice. And then I got there, and I knew they had a scratch and dent section. I'm like, oh yeah, well, we have fountains in the scratch and dent section. So I go back there, I start looking, and I revisited some sections that I had seen the first time I went there. And they had this really big fountain, which is way out of my price range. And they had a pool. And I didn't really look that closely at it, so I thought it was like a pre-made concrete pool. And I had seen some of those big fountains with the pre-made concrete pool on their website. I noticed that it was pretty expensive, like $22,000. So it was, it was really expensive. And so, which I was like, not something I can afford. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just, I said, well, maybe I could do like a fountain that's got a small bowl. And I'm not sure what it was this time, but when I was actually looking at those fountains, I realized that what I thought was a pool on some of them was not actually pool. It was like concrete wall. And then so I was in the scratch and dent section, and it was very confusing because of how they had pieces stored, and so sometimes it wasn't clear what was a fountain as opposed to what was part of a fountain, or what was just a planter. And some of the things, like the fountains, like you could change them into a planter, and you could put like a planter on top of a pedestal, and and so it was just, so I was having the guy like tell me like, what's this, what's that, okay, I thought this was this and I thought this was that. And I saw some of the pool bases, and then I saw these blocks, and I'm like, what are these blocks? And then it kind of dawned on me when I kept walking around that I think these are the blocks that they use to make that kind of like pool thing. And it turned out they are. So then I got a price on them, and it's like 2-foot sections. Some of them are 8 inches tall, others are 10. And and they're 2 feet long. And so I was like, wow, wait a minute. I'm like, wait. I didn't think it was going to be that price. I was expecting they were going to be a lot more. And now instead with the Parterre garden, even though I want a fountain, I'm thinking what I really would like a lot better is to have a pool with, like, various, figures, like having figures spouting water at various points along the reflection pool. And so now I'm going to go back and redesign. So this did not go how I thought it was going to go. And so now I'm going to go back. I'm going to redesign because that's really what I want to do. And I'm just glad that I took my time and went through their entire lot before I made a decision, because if I had purchased that pool and then realized later on, granted, if I had purchased the fountain and realized I could have done it, obviously I could have used the fountain somewhere else in my yard. And it's not to say that I wouldn't get a fountain for somewhere else in my yard. It's just that this is the Parterre garden. It's directly in front of my house, so I'm definitely looking for something more formal. And so I think that the pool with fountains, little, water features along it's gonna work a lot better. And once I see how this one goes, I can see that, in other garden sections, I might do something like, make the pool a little bit more elaborate. I did look at some designs on Pinterest, and I saw, like, people who made these things, really, really elaborate. So I think with the the reflection pool, it's going to be, definitely, I'm planning to spend I'm going to spend 2 years in this garden, if not more. It may be the type of thing that may take 3 years before I get this garden to the point where I'm ready to start the next section. But I'm going to just redesign what I have, and and I'll keep you guys apprised of that. So this that's the way it is with gardening, and even decorating your house. Like, you are constantly going back to the drawing board. And so I think with the reflection pool, though, I think that's probably going to be a design. I think what's going to change is that, because I can put statues on it, like at the corners and that sort of thing, I think that's probably what's going to change, is that, I may say, oh, I'm going to do like pineapples, and next time, oh, never mind, I'm going to do bowls of fruit. So I think that's what's going to change. But I think I'm going to just buy a little bit at a time, because, I can buy like, I can buy like $200 worth at a time, which will give me like 8 pieces or something, and then put them down and then come back later. So back to the plan, guys. So I'll keep you apprised of any developments, though. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.